Coming up right now on Around San Diego, a family fight turns deadly with San Diego police opening fire and taking technology out of the classroom. The decision just made at San Diego's largest school district. Plus, El Nino's warm water reeling in some exotic ocean fish. A lot to get to. Thank you so much for joining us as we take you around San Diego, my favorite time of the week. I'm News 8's Jenny Day, and I'll quickly get you caught up on our top stories of the week so far, and we will look ahead at what's to come around San Diego. We do begin with an update on that breaking news. San Diego police officers shot and killed a man after an hours-long standoff in the Cortez Hill neighborhood. Police tell us that a woman ran from her apartment on 6th Avenue, telling officers that her son had just attacked her with a knife. By the time officers arrived, they say the man had barricaded himself inside and began throwing large objects, including a TV, at officers both inside and outside of the building. At one point, they say that he set a fire inside the apartment, but the building's sprinkler system kept it from spreading. Officers eventually moved in and several opened fire. The man died later at a hospital, and his mother suffered only minor injuries. The sheriff's office is now leading that investigation. Well, now to new video showing the aftermath of a drive-by shooting in Claremont, where a teen boy was shot in the leg. You can see him sitting here as bystanders and police begin to surround him. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. Police say it happened near the Home Depot there on Genesee Avenue. Investigators say the teen was waiting at a bus stop when a dark-colored sedan pulled up and someone inside fired multiple shots before speeding away.
People were crowding, of course. He was bleeding out of his left leg. He was on the floor. Cops had just pulled up by the time I crossed the street, and they were checking on him as well. He was very quiet, very still, very calm, it seemed.
Yeah, witnesses reported seeing 4 people inside that sedan. Investigators say they are still looking at images from license plate reader cameras. Well, right now, the future of the man convicted in the deadly Santana High School shooting is still up in the air. Andy Williams appeared in court virtually this week as the legal battle over his sentence continues. Williams was 15 years old when he opened fire on the high school campus in 2001, killing 2 students and wounding 13 others. Earlier this year, a judge ruled he should be resentenced under a California law that prohibits life terms for juvenile offenders. But the San Diego District Attorney's Office appealed that decision and is still waiting for a higher court to weigh in. For now, the case remains on hold, and a judge did schedule another court date for December that he hopes that ruling will have arrived by then. Well, now to the Larry Millete murder trial. We are heading into week 7. I have been in the courtroom almost every single day. The Chula Vista dad is accused of killing his wife, Maya, even though her body has not been found since she disappeared more than 5 years ago. Now, out of 152 witnesses, we have now probably heard from about 50 people. An investigator just testified about phone records. 3 days before Maya vanished, she texts Larry, quote, "I am filing for divorce, whether you like it or not." Then on the very day that she disappeared, Larry called out of work and texted that he was, quote, "mentally, emotionally, and physically spent." A neighbor also testified that Larry asked him to repair and do some paint work on his vehicle 2 days after Maya disappeared. Larry said it had been scratched up. Now, the coworker who Maya was having an affair with also took the stand this week, saying that they were in love and he was concerned about how controlling Larry was. The defense has suggested his alibi wasn't thoroughly investigated. He says he was at the hospital the night Maya went missing when his wife was in labor with their first child. We have also learned that his now ex-wife will soon testify. You can stay up to date with the latest from the trial online and on the go with our free CBS 8 streaming app. Well, another murder mystery that stretched 5 decades is one step closer to being solved. Investigators just identified a body in 1975 as San Diego native Cheryl Edwards, who was just 15 years old. Authorities say the pregnant teenager was found shot to death along the Mississippi River in Iowa and has only been known as Jane Doe since then. Genealogists used DNA to identify her. Members of her family have been notified about the discovery. The investigation is ongoing. And jury deliberations are now underway in the trial of the man accused of causing the Palisades fire up in Los Angeles. Jonathan Reichenneck faces now multiple arson-related charges for allegedly starting that fire on New Year's Day of 2025, which then smoldered underground for days and later erupted, investigators say, into the Palisades fire. Prosecutors say that the 30-year-old man, a former Uber driver, started the fire because he was mad at rich people and angry that he couldn't find someone to spend New Year's Eve with. The defense says there's no concrete evidence that links him to the fire, and they say he called 911 repeatedly, trying to get help. More than a month now after the shooting at the Islamic Center of San Diego, community leaders are calling for help, and a new local study reflects growing safety concerns. The U.S. Immigration Policy Center surveyed more than 300 local Muslims, with 88% saying they feel less safe since the attack. After the shooting, Governor Newsom's office announced that $80 million in funding had been awarded to more than 340 nonprofit faith-based organizations through a grant program. However, no Muslim organizations in the county, including the Islamic Center of San Diego, received any of that grant money.
Being denied the grant is a wrong message that we are sending to our taxpayers.
A coalition has sent a letter to the governor requesting $20 million in emergency funding for security upgrades at Muslim institutions throughout San Diego County, as well as culturally informed counseling services for those impacted by the attack. The governor's office tells us that because they are in the midst of the state budget, they cannot comment any further. We'll keep you posted. Well, as we continue to take you around San Diego, we'll tell you about the decision just made by the San Diego Unified School District and what they are banning from the classroom. But first, our Richard Allen has an update on cannabis delivery.
San Diego's cracking down on illegal cannabis deliveries. City leaders just approved new rules requiring delivery services to have local permits while also increasing penalties for unlicensed operators. Now, this move is designed to target companies that are accused of undercutting legal dispensaries and avoiding city taxes. Supporters say it's about leveling the playing field and protecting consumers.
Welcome back. Limiting technology in kids' classrooms. This week, San Diego Unified voted to take steps to cut back on how much media students consume through school-issued devices. Starting on the first day of the upcoming school year, students will not be able to access YouTube or gaming platforms on school devices. Computer carts will also be taken out of transitional kindergarten classrooms. Over the next year, officials will come up with specific tech policies.
Be implementing guidelines around how much screen time based on individual age and grade levels should be used in the classroom.
Yeah, district leaders will also decide which evening hours to shut off access to school-issued devices at home, encouraging students to spend time with family instead of staying glued to a screen. And the San Diego City Council approved new regulations for e-bikes. The proposal says riders would have to be at least 12 years old to ride Class 1 and 2 e-bikes, which can reach 20 miles per hour. It would also ban passengers on bikes built for one person. A second reading will take place this Tuesday. And again, if approved, the proposal will then take effect 30 days later. Now, the vote comes during a surge in serious e-bike injuries among kids. Doctors at Rady Children's Hospital treated 262 cases last year alone, and this year it is on pace to be even worse. San Diego City Councilman Raul Campillo says that the new e-bike regulations align with his goal to educate kids, not punish them. And for people who believe kids should not be able to ride an e-bike without a driver's license, Campillo says he hears you, but under current state law, this is the strongest regulation they can impose. Well, the new report finds traffic crashes and deteriorating roads are costing the average San Diego driver nearly $3,400 a year. That is according to the transportation research nonprofit called TRIP.
The report found that in the San Diego area, approximately a third of the major roads, 32% of the major roads, have pavements in poor condition. Whether they're maintained by local or state governments, these are roadways that are giving you a rough ride. What that does is it also tends to knock your vehicle around, and that accelerates essentially how quickly your vehicle falls apart.
Yeah, and it's not just rough roads taking a toll. TRIP says the average San Diego driver spends an extra 88 hours a year stuck in traffic and wastes about 30 gallons of fuel. Congestion alone costs the average motorist more than $2,000 annually right here in San Diego. Well, Leucadia could soon become a little more pedestrian friendly. The Encinitas City Council recently approved nearly $300,000 to move forward onto pedestrian rail crossings. Right now, there is a mile-long stretch with no legal way to cross, kind of forcing people to walk far out of the way or hop the fence. So the city of Encinitas is advancing plans to build 2 new pedestrian and bicycle rail crossings. They're at Phoebe Street and Grandview Street. It would reconnect the residential east side with the coastal west side across that 1.3-mile stretch of tracks.
My wife, we're really looking forward to that because we go to these restaurants all the time and we climb over the fence as it is right now.
Yeah, final design work is expected to begin this summer and be completed then by the end of this year. Well, gender-affirming care for patients at Rady Children's Hospital will continue for now. The state had sued the hospital after it announced it would stop providing those services amid threats of federal funding cuts. In court, the state attorney general and Rady Children's agreed to extend a temporary restraining order protecting access to that care for the next 6 months. The order was also amended, now explicitly covering puberty blocker implants as long as a hospital deems them medically necessary. Now, the next major court date will not be until January. There's also a separate class action filed on behalf of 1,900 Rady Children's patients with different legal claims centered on discrimination. A judge will hear those arguments relating to, again, this second case next month. San Diego County water rates could be going up again. The San Diego County Water Authority is proposing a 3% rate hike in 2027, with similar increases proposed through 2032. Officials say the increase is lower than expected and actually below the rate of inflation. The Water Authority credits part of that to 2 new water sales agreements with other water agencies, deals expected to bring in millions in revenue over the next 5 years. Well, San Diego could also one day break up with SDG&E, but it would not come cheap. A new report presented to the City Council found a publicly owned power utility could save ratepayers up to $7 billion over the next 30 years. But getting there could cost more than $8 billion, including nearly $1 billion in upfront expenses. The study estimates the transition would also take about 10 to 15 years. Critics warn the move could put union jobs at risk, while supporters argue it could help lower electric bills. The report comes just weeks after SDG&E asked state regulators to approve a rate hike of nearly 9%. San Diego customers are already paying among the highest rates in the country. Well, despite community opposition, the city of Chula Vista is pledging millions in funding to a new affordable housing project. This $4 million loan will help fund the construction of 62 apartments for low-income residents on what is currently a softball field owned by a church. Residents' primary concerns center around lack of parking, privacy, increased traffic, and drainage issues. Because it would be built on a church-owned land, it is able to bypass zoning regulations due to a state law. This has really upset some residents as well as the mayor of Chula Vista.
Local control is so important because people want to be able to have a say in their community, and Sacramento has taken away their right to be able to have a say.
So the developer says it is working with neighbors and exploring design changes to address their concerns. Construction still estimated to be about 2 to 3 years away. And on the state level, California voters could soon have two big housing measures to consider. One would help first-time and middle-class buyers with down payments. The other would authorize more than $11 billion for affordable housing and veterans' home loans. Supporters say it could help build tens of thousands of new homes, while critics argue it would add billions in new debt for taxpayers. Well, Oceanside voters will also soon decide if they are willing to pay more at the checkout line. A November ballot measure would add a half-cent sales tax for the next 10 years. Leaders say it could help fund projects like new fire station and a police headquarters, building a new pier bridge, and road repairs. If approved by voters, the new sales tax rate of 8.75% would take effect in 2027. Well, now to San Diego's trash collection service. Starting next week, July 1st, the city will no longer pick up garbage from those old black trash bins. To receive service, residents must use a city-approved gray bin. Most households do already have that bin by now, but anyone who still does need one of those new gray bins, you're urged to contact the city before that deadline. Up next, great catch. You gotta see this. What our local fishermen are finding right off our coast in these warm El Nino waters. Well, after more than 3 decades, a San Diego summer tradition is coming to an end. The San Diego Zoo says this will be the final year of its nighttime zoo program. The program has given visitors a chance to see animals after dark since 1994. The popular event runs through August 9th with those extended hours, live entertainment, and animal encounters. The zoo did not actually say why the popular program is ending, but did announce a new summer festival for 2027. Certainly let you know when more details are released. Well, El Nino is warming local waters, and that is drawing some unusual visitors from the south. Fishermen near San Diego are already reeling in some exotic catches. Meteorologist Sean Stiles reports from H&M Landing to explain what is coming off of those boats and what to expect this summer in this Earth 8 report.
As the El Nino continues to develop in the eastern Pacific, the folks here at H&M Landing and the sport fishing fleet are extremely excited with fish already being caught in the waters around San Diego.
There we go. We've seen an influx of yellowtail already this year, and that's really exciting for us, especially with everything that we're hearing, the rumors of this El Nino.
Captain Tyler Wilson of the Grande is taking full advantage of the building El Nino and the fishing for his clients.
The quality has been phenomenal. Nice, big, healthy, I'd call it 15 to 25 pounds with some standout 30s.
And the yellowtail have been coming close. Look at this 50-pounder that was recently caught off Crystal Pier. This El Nino is shaping up to be like the historic one of 2015-16.
El Ninos have always been a boon for this industry.
Frank Ursetti is the managing partner at H&M Landing.
When we look at the forecast for El Nino, the Super El Nino, this huge warm water event, our fleet is so excited.
Coming aboard.
The economic benefit is huge.
El Ninos of the past have drawn anglers to San Diego, and Ursetti thinks fish are on the way.
Nice job, guys.
It would not surprise me if we have great access to yellowfin tuna, Dorado,
get in there.
Big schools of yellowtail, all that comes with a warm water event like an El Nino, located right here in our backyard.
Recently, tropical fish have been caught near San Diego with 3 OPA just south of us.
Not a normal catch on a shorter range trip. And I'm sure we're going to see more of that.
With the El Nino continuing to grow, more exotic fish should come north. Captain Wilson puts a day of fishing in perspective.
My take on fishing is any day you're out on the water is a great day. You know, you're away from home, you're off the couch. You get to kind of get away from all the problems that we have on land.
As the warm waters from El Nino grow, Frank is expecting a repeat of 2015-16 El Nino.
Wahoo getting pushed up closer to the border. Access to yellowfin was amazing. We had fish being caught by our half-day boat.
And as the El Nino continues to develop, the boats here will be full of anglers. So as we've heard, there's no bad day of fishing when you're out on the water. Sean Stiles, News 8.
Just beautiful and cool to see what I'm swimming with. All right, well, while it is National Pride Month, San Diego typically rocks rainbow in July. So the lineup for the festival was just announced. Who will take the stage? Well, as we wrap up here, we do have our first look at the lineup for the San Diego Pride Festival. The two-day event will be headlined by the band Cruella on Saturday, July 18th, and then the singer Marina will be on Sunday, July 19th. There will be 4 stages with more than 100 entertainers. The festival is happening at Marston Point in Balboa Park. You can buy tickets online. Now, before that, the free parade will be held that Saturday morning. If you can't make it, as always, we will stream the parade live right here on CBS 8. Well, there is a new Michelin-starred restaurant in San Diego, Lucien in La Jolla. The restaurant blends California cuisine with French and Japanese influences. Can't wait to try it. It earned the single star during the Michelin Guide ceremony held here in San Diego along the Embarcadero. Addison did retain its 3-star status, the only one in San Diego. 3 other restaurants kept their single star, while Valle in Oceanside actually lost theirs. All right, that will do it for us. Thank you, as always, for your time, for staying informed. For News 8, I'm Jenny Day. Take good care.